Hello, my sexy muffins, and welcome back to another video. In this video, we're doing the Safe for Work Patreon video, which is going to be in this video, which is David, which is basically there's no romantic couple in this one, but basically in this, David Bright, which is a toddler at this point, is going to be wandering off from Alto Clef, who is babysitting him on Valentine's Day, and ends up finding, let me look it up. I gotta look it up. It's Mr. Deeds. SCP, I just gotta look up his SCP a number. SCP. Okay, and it is 662. SCP 662, Mr. Deeds, who will also perform menial tasks such as washing and basically the perfect butler and does anything he asks. And at his cell containment door is a bell for you to ring for him to come out and do the tasks that he does. And he's going to become the permanent butler for David Bright and for all that good stuff. Anyways, let's get on to the disclaimers and content warnings and all that stuff. Okay, first off, all artwork credit goes to Gav Imp for this. She is fabulous, beautiful, wonderful artist, and I love her artwork very, very much. I will have some with David Bright maybe in this. We shall see. Anyways, also that this is an Alpha Beta Omega universe. Disclaimer, obviously, the Alpha Beta Omega universe. And David is the son of an Omega Jack Bright and Alpha SCP 076 2 Abel. So he's that son. So this is obviously an AU and not supposed to be taken seriously at all. All that good stuff. And there's no romantic couple in this, but Jack will come with Abel and Cain hot on his tails and all that stuff, looking for his son and all that good stuff. So yes, there is that as well. And then there is, what is it called? It's on the tip of my tongue. I forgot what it is. Also, oh yes. Disclaimer that this is just fiction and not to be taken seriously at all. Separate fiction from reality and headcanon from canon. It's fine to do stuff like this. Just don't be gross or illegal about it. And remember to separate fiction from reality and headcanon from canon. Thank you. And oh yes, that Jack Bright / Jackie Bright, if assigned female at birth, is not us is they are a standalone character right now and no longer connected to Admin Bright. We do not support Admin Bright on this channel. He's a piece of poo, but his character Jack Bright and subsequently, I think that's the right word, Jackie Bright, if he was born female, obviously, and gender and all that, is also just their own standalone characters right now. Anyways, let's do this. Okay, so it was Valentine's Day, and Alto Clef was not having a Valentine's Day of his own because Kondraki was out doing a job for the foundation, so he did not get to see his partner. So he volunteered to babysit David Bright for his good friend and packmate Jack Bright. And he was doing a very good job at just keeping David Bright busy, but suddenly he gets a call from Kondraki, his boyfriend, and the man who is courting him to be his mate, and he wanted to have a little private moment, so he left the room just for 5 seconds, literally 5 seconds. But David Bright, being a toddler and being a little vanishing actor, apparently, quickly got out of the playpen and out the door and started to walk the halls of the SCP Foundation. How he got through all the security, I have no idea. He's a vanishing master and apparently the greatest risk to the SCP Foundation as a toddler because he could accidentally cause a containment breach without knowing it. Literally, it's ridiculous. Anyways, he was wandering and waddling, and he finally came across a door that had a bell and said ring for service. So he did not know what it fully meant, but he knew what service was, and he was pretty sure that ringing the button would bring out the service, and he wanted someone to play with. So he pushes the button and waits. The door opens, and there is SCP 662, Mr. Deeds, the perfect butler. He looks left and right, not seeing anyone that could have had to push the button, and then he hears a little babble and sees a very little red-headed toddler with bright green eyes, holding his arms up and making grabby hands at him. He wanted to be picked up, and so Mr. Deeds, not being able to take any orders from a toddler that could not fully talk yet, took the message that he wanted to be picked up and cared for. So he picked David Bright up and carried him into his room, where he sat down in the chair and started to, since it was a rocking chair. If it's not a rocking chair in Canada, I do not care. It is a rocking chair right now, and started to rock David Bright as David Bright babbled about his day, and Mr. Deeds nodded. Mr. Deeds and David Bright did not know they were creating a bond, not like that, ew, get your head out of the gutter. Anyone who sees that or thinks that, you know who you are, you dirty flaky biscuits. But anyways, but a bond of true friendship. David Bright just adored Mr. Deeds and thought he was the coolest thing to ever happen in the entire multiverse. And he just wanted to spend all day babbling to him about what he did for breakfast, and he was very interested. And on Mr. Deeds' thing, he was feeling very emotional because of how he could had possibly had or did not have kids. We don't know his full history, but he was feeling very attached to David Bright and smiling at David, going, "Yes, that makes absolute sense. Oh, really? That is very interesting. Tell me more." He was entranced in this conversation, which was mostly one sided, but it was still something that created a bond between them. He stayed like that until David fell asleep on his chest, and suddenly he picked him up and thought he would have to go tell security if an anomaly got out or if this was someone's child that was brought to work, which is less likely. He picked up David and gently held him as he leads him through the halls, and that is when he hears a very frantic Jack Wright calling David the name David. David woke up and made and pointed to where the noise was coming from and said, "Mama," he says, and sorry, I know my mama is crap. Anyways, and he pointed to the way the noise was, and he was telling Mr. Deeds that what Jack Bright was the Omega that gave birth to him. Yes, and Preg is a thing in this. And he wanted to see his mama. Mr. Deeds nodded and started to follow the voice, and that's where Jack saw Mr. Deeds carrying his son. And he rushed over. "Oh my God, baby, I'm so glad you're safe." Jack Bright quickly plucked up his baby boy and started to kiss his face all over. And David giggled, having a good time, glad to see his mama. But he was a bit worried that his mama was upset with him. So he pouted. "Oh no, I'm not upset with you, baby," Jack says and kisses the top of his head. "I was worried because you escaped." He David just giggled and grinned and then pointed at Mr. Deeds. And then to him, he wanted to be watched by Mr. Deeds and have Mr. Deeds be his best friend. And he wanted his mama to make that happen since she was the site director. Jack Bright Jack Bright realized that this was what happened, and so he turned fully to Mr. Deeds. "I'm sorry about this. I didn't know he escaped from Alto Clef. Yes, children can be really escape artists when they want to be," Mr. Deeds said. "Your son was delightful, though, and he had very intense conversation about what happened today." Jack nodded his head. I hope I'm not being too forward, Mr. Deeds, but would you mind being his babysitter? He seems to really like you, and he tolerates Clef, but he doesn't like anyone else in the Foundation. Like, he tolerates Clef, and that was my only option. But as the site director and the rest of my pack being high up in the SCP Foundation, you cannot find anyone you would trust your son's safety to as the ultimate thing, as well as taking care of him until he can train, right?" Mr. D said, and Jack nodded as if Mr. D read his mind. "It is all right, Jack Wright. I understand completely. Your son's is your first top priority, and I will be happy to be his friend and butler at this time and one day when he grows up to be his friend and greatest ally and confidant," he says confidently as he felt the connection with David Bright as well. David Bright lit up, sort of understanding, and clapped his hands together and made grabby hands at Mr. D. Mr. D leaned down, and David Bright hugged his head close to it as if sealing the deal that they were going to be best friends for life. Mr. D felt a tear run down his face, as he never felt so needed and actually genuinely appreciated and loved. It was very intense, and it was the most platonic friendship and lifelong friendship that would happen forever between these two. Anyways, I hope that you all enjoyed this. If you would like to see more, comment below what you would like to see, and I will do my best to do it and all that good stuff. Also, I want to clarify that in the future, David Bright's character is an OC and all that, and his character in canon is Arrow Ace. So he has no romantic attraction or adult fun time attraction. So the connection he has with Mr. Deed's SCP 662 is a very platonic friendship where they just are each other's confidant. And anytime David Bright needed anyone to support on that, couldn't be family or people that he's trained with, it's always been Mr. D. And they have this, like, it's kind of like, not as fatherly as Batman and Alfred, but the connection's similar to that, but more friendship and equal grounds than servant and and was the word employer. That's the word. Anyways, I hope that you all enjoyed. And now, Patreon outro. Patreon outro. Thank you, Gav, for being my first patron. You are wonderful, beautiful, stunning, gorgeous. Mwah. Thank you, Gav. I appreciate you. I hope that you all enjoyed. And if you would like to see more, comment below what you would like to see. And I will do my best to do it and all that good stuff. And stay sexy, all my sexy muffins. Bye bye. Secret outro time, secret outro time, secret outro time, secret outro, baseball bat. Welcome to the secret outro. And the secret outro question is, what did you do on Valentine's Day for yourself or after? As I bought some chocolates and stuff after Valentine's Day because it was like 50% off all chocolates, and I always do that every year because I am a chocolate fiend. Anyways, what did you do? I spent the day with my partner and we wrote, because we're long distance, so we role played and did phone adult fun time. It was wonderful, beautiful, gorgeous. And we also sat and watched a lot of, what is it called? Last of a half a season two of, what is it called? It's on the tip of my tongue. Castlevania and simped for Dracula. Anyways, what did you do? Comment below and stay sexy on my sexy muffins. Bye bye.